URT. Who are we? It's the URT. You are the URT. Big up the URT. Smash a like for the URT people. Big up the URT. How we doing, people? Welcome to United Real Therapy. What having it? We've got a jam-packed show for you tonight, people. Jam El Paco El show for you lot tonight. We've got jam-packed show. Let's be having you lot. Let's be having you. We've got a lot to talk about. Obviously, Bruno versus Keane. Fernandes, Mateo Fernandes, and Anderson player profiles. Bruno, Glazer fraud watch, mate. Glazer fraud watch. That's what we're on as well. Glazer fraud watch. Got all of that to come and more, people. So big up, love, and please smash the likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Let's just hit you with the, what do you call it? The intro, and we'll be back after this. Banners. The banners are there. Media. Let's go to the intro, people. We'll be back after this intro. Big up the URT. URT. Smash the like for the URT. Subscribe to the URT, people. Welcome back to the channel, people. We're live. We're live. There's a debate to be had. Bruno or Bruno or or Keane. Who do you stand with? A lot of the fan base have gone with Bruno, because he's the flavour of the month, but people forget what Roy Keane did for this football club, man. And we'll go off the start. Roy Keane was wrong, misquoting Bruno, but at the end of the day, the big topic stands, mate. 70 million for Gordon, yes, that means that Marcus Rashford is most likely going to go either to Bayern Munich or to Italy. That's what's going to happen. Yeah, big up. Who are we? URT. Big up the URT people. Let me just fix this camera, yeah? Let me just fix this camera. There we go. We've got it about right. We've got it right about right. There you go. The camera's fixed, people. Always want to see the banner behind you. Camera's fixed and we're having it. The camera is fixed and we're having it. Eid Mubarak, by the way. Eid Mubarak to all my people worldwide. All my people worldwide celebrating. Eid Mubarak. I hope you're having a lovely and a wonderful time. Sending so much love to all my people, worldwide people. I don't care about anything with Bruno, to be honest. I support United, not Player FC. Well, there you go, Monty. But Monty, it's the Bruno trophy. How many trophies has Bruno won now? Individual trophies. He's getting one every minute. Latest one today, he got voted Player of the Week. Player of the Week, you know. I swear to God, these United aggregators are all there, bro. Honestly. Bruno's won this. Bruno's won that. Listen, I'm happy. If he's on form and firing, that means Manchester United are winning football games. But on the whole, for me, playing through one player is not the answer to Manchester United problems. Playing through one player is not the answer, and it will never be the answer. It will never be the answer, but we're live, we're here, we're direct. Please do smash the like, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Will Arsenal be the first team provided to win the Champions League undefeated? They've got a chance. I can see them winning it on a set piece, but if it's a football game, There's only one winner. There's only one winner. If it's a football game, there's only one winner, people. If it's a football game, there's only one winner. Like, share, subscribe, help that channel. Yeah, always. Big up Fury. Big up to Fury, man. It's a team game, 100%. Ineos, Glazer out, always. Always. That's why we keep it 100%. Ineos, Glazers out, always. Always. Win, lose, or draw. And like I said, in Mubarak to all my Muslims worldwide, man. Big up and love always, man. May your prayers be answered. May your prayers be answered, man. And health is wealth, innit? Wishing everybody healthy and everybody happy Wednesday to everybody else, wherever you are in this world. If they manage to get 25 minutes without conceding, Arsenal will have a chance. Yeah, that's interesting. Time on. I bet if Kane was saying the same thing about Mainu and post donkey, people will get angry because Bruno chat to him. It's nothing. No, I don't think anybody was saying that. I don't think anybody was saying that, man. Roy Keane talks mad about all type of players. He said about Maguire. He said about David De Gea. He criticized all these different players. He criticized Carrick. He criticized. That's why he got kicked out of Manchester United, because he's about standards. I don't know, I really don't know. I don't know. I hope he can see that we're live, but I don't know. I can't tell you. He can't tell you. What's going on with the fire with the Europa Conference? I heard Palace were winning 1-0. Yeah. Big up, people. Big up. I'll message him now and say to him. Saeed, don't forget to read. Is it still 1-0? Still 1-0 Palace. What are your views on Andy Mitten? I remember him being very anti-Glazer. Yeah, now he's in bed with the Glazers, mate. He's the Ineos Jim the Ratcliffe PR merchant. That's what he is now. He's a Jim the Rat PR merchant, mate. I don't know what Omar Barada and Jim the Rat Wilcox. He keeps telling me that they're doing great job, doing great work, doing great things. Yeah, I don't respect him anymore. I don't respect him whatsoever. Remember being very, yeah. Like I said, he did his best to try to stop the takeover before it happened. He went down to London and went to the Houses of Parliament, tried to stop the thing. Now he's part of the gang now. He's interviewing for the club. He works for the club, innit? He's a freelance journalist, works for the club. He does bits for the club, innit? Sitting down doing interviews with Casemiro and all that, because he can speak Portuguese and Spanish, I think. Yeah. He speaks Spanish anyway. I think Rashford is a better player than Gordon, me personally. But that's just me. I think Rashford's done more so far in his career than Anthony Gordon. But he's got talent. I do like Gordon. He's got talent. But this season he's been horrendous. He's been horrendous. Barcelona, yeah. Well, they're paying 60. They're paying 60. Yeah, 60 million, because it's all in euros. 80 million euros and 70 plus the add-ons. But yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that he's working for the club. Yeah, he does some work for Manchester United. Yes, he does. Why is he interviewing people like Casemiro and all of that? If he's not there, if he's not, he'll tell you I have to keep relationship with the people at the club So then I can tell you what's going on. Now you don't. And for somebody who's working class, who's from around here, from near Old Trafford, basically, he is somebody who's gone out of touch. He's gone out of touch. It's out of touch, man. Yeah, a lot of people have lost their shit over Keane, but we're going to talk about that. I'm just waiting for the boys to come. But yeah, the news coming out today is that we've signed Ederson. We've signed him. We're going to do a player profile. We're going to break it down. Big up Luani. Luani, you good?
Yes, sir. Big up. Good evening or good afternoon, guys.
How you doing, brother? You good?
Yes, sir. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Where are you today?
I just get out of Boston, so saw a truck stop right outside Boston. When I pull up, just had my lunch, so I'm ready
How
to
many,
go.
how many hours before you can get home from there where you are?
Oh, 2 hour 41 minute.
That's not bad.
So
I didn't
yeah,
know
that's
Boston.
not.
I didn't know Boston was close to New York State.
Yes, yes. They share a lot of border town from straight from the city of Boston to the capital of New York, Albany, is about 2 hours max.
That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the East Coast, isn't it? All the East
yeah,
Coast.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, New York Knicks are kicking ass in the basketball. Knicks are
yep.
celebrating, eh?
Yes, they are.
You've been
They
watching
are.
it.
They've been when I got here in 2004. They were really bad. So I eventually jumped off the bandwagon somewhere. But my neighbor, as I was speaking to my neighbor this week, he was the one informing me that they were doing really well. So maybe I might jump back on the bandwagon at some point.
Johnny come lately. Luani come lately, eh? Luani getting advice here. Titanium is telling you, park your car in Harvard Yard. Luani says, Harvard.
Nah, I'm not going anywhere near Harvard, man. Too many low bridges. It's too tight over there
Yeah.
in those areas.
Yeah, congratulations to Palace. I really like Real Falcao. I've been there. It's a beautiful place, but Henderson has won 2 trophies since leaving United. Big up to Henderson. Big up Jarvis, Tactical Devils. Yes, people, we're going to do what we're going to do. Big up Love and Light. Was too talkative. He's won 2 big trophies. Well, he's won a Europa Conference and an FA Cup. So, Luani,
Yes,
apparently
sir.
you signed Ederson. How happy are you with the signing of Ederson? Apparently that's nearly done.
I know last time we spoke about Ederson. I was not too keen on signing him, but I mean he's working wonders on me at this point because I think even though I think that the listing you can translate into the Premier League is pace and power coming from another league, you're not going to make a difference like that. But one thing you can bring us is a certain level of consistency. So if he give us, as long as he's not the marquee signing, and he give us the work rate, that can help us build the consistency on which our difference makers can thrive. Because right now we seem to have a lot of difference makers in the team, but not enough people that have that can compensate with the work rate. So I suspect that next season, most of the team will target our difference makers, and there have to be a certain level of system that you can or work rate that we can use to compensate that. I think they're already doing it, starting from Fulham. All the lower team that we play, when they come to us, they try to play football they try to put the ball on the ground and play with the whole pitch. So they try to make us work. So Ederson is welcome. I believe he'll give us that little work rate that we don't have with Casemiro. I'm not necessarily saying he's a Casemiro replacement, but his work rate will be welcome as long as we sign other players that can
They're
be
saying that he
more.
is. They're saying that he is. The Times newspaper is saying that this evening or earlier today, saying that he is the replacement for Casemiro.
Murph. Now, I rather not think that, because Casemiro is such an X factor in terms of what he does in the box. We know how much he had the flair to be at the end of all the dead ball that we put in the box, and we owe him so much goals, so many momentum changing um, goals. So I'm not too sure that he's really replaced that. You can really replace that. But like I say, as long as we have other players that can make a difference, that can be more of an X factor, or we sign more of those, I will accept Ederson. But if Ederson is the marquee signing, I think we're in for a long run, because he can easily be neutralized in the Premier League. Premier League is all pace and power. So
yeah, I mean, does he not worry you that him coming from Italy, can his intensity and physicality translate to a league that is 100 miles an hour go, where Italy is more tactical and positioning? One thing I would say, tactically, he should be good, because Italy, they do a lot of work on positioning, and tactically, positionality is one of the biggest things that Italian game has. But in terms of the pace, the only worry is, can Ederson's physicality, people get voting, Ederson's physicality translate over?
For a long time, we used to look at the Italian league as the physical league with the catenaccio, and then they moved to a more tactical approach. And then we look at the Spanish league as the possession-based league, where you have to have a certain level of technique to your game. But that myth have been busted the past years, because of how dominant the English team are in Europe. They look like most of the even evidenced by Crystal Palace. Look at what Crystal Palace doing today and what Aston Villa did last time. It looked like to play in the Premier League, just physicality is the minimum requirement, and most of the English team are physically superior to their European counterpart. So coming from Italy, I'm not going to overrate the physicality of Ederson. No, I need to see it on the pitch. Just remind me, when is the last time a player ever come from Italy and dominate this league physically? I can't tell off the top of my head.
The only one is, to be fair, one thing, but Newcastle are quite unique because of the physicality, the way he plays, Eddie Howe. But Tonali is the only one who's really come from Italy. And actually, but he plays in a three-man midfield, you know what I mean? He's not being asked to cover the whole ground by himself. You know what I mean? But it's only because of the way that they train at Newcastle and the intensity and the pressing and the physicality which they play with. I think that's what's made him adapt and get up to speed quickly, because of the way that Newcastle
play. You're correct.
Tonight, one of the goals, it was a shot. It was a shot from Wharton, and Mateta put it in. So
my man
saying we should go and get Wharton. Tell me about Wharton. What would you rate about Wharton? Go on.
Wharton, for me, he's an excellent passer of the ball. That's the one thing that I love about him, and he's also press resistant for his frame. And sometimes people look at him as he's not that physical. He know how to use the ball, and I love people who just know how to use the ball, because they're always underrated. Everybody think about the flashy players, the assist, but they don't think about in the progressive pass of the game, who unlocked that defense, who passed the ball from deep, who made the assist before the pass before the assist. And Adam Wharton thrive in those situations. I've seen him playing a bit, even play a bit up, and playing from deep is still the same. Short range pass, long range pass. His decision making in terms of his pass selection is also excellent. So I rate him highly. The only issue I've heard people talk about recently is his injury record and the fact that he doesn't seem to play 90 minutes
Yeah, he
all the
doesn't finish
time.
games. Yeah, he doesn't finish
He
games.
doesn't finish game, but because of his excellent passing range, I'll just take him as a premium signing. For me, I'll definitely go for him because of his ability. But the only other midfielder I can think of in the league in the similar mode is probably Alex Scott and that kid that played for Chelsea, Andre Santos.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Big up to his B6R says, how do we close the gap with Ederson, Mateus, when every other team will spend the same or more on better players than they already got better plans than us? Well, that's why the last topic of this or tonight's show is Ineos Glazer fraud watch, innit? It's Ineos Glazer fraud watch. Watching these lot. That's why. It's Manchester United. I don't know if you saw it, but the overlap interviewed Gary Neville and Ian Wright went to the Arsenal training facilities and they interviewed the owners, the CEO, some of the players, Arteta. And yeah, Josh Kroenke had a plan because the Kroenkes, they own so many teams. I think they own another 3 teams in the US, the Rams or something like that. They own like they own a American football team. They own I think, is it a baseball team or maybe a basketball team? So they have, yeah, they have other teams, and they were like, no, we had a plan. They took control of the club. They bought out, I think, 30% of Usmanov. And that's why I was trying to explain to people, Luani, it's the ownership that wins the championship. It's the ownership. And at Sellers Back, guess who it was? It was Josh Kroenke and his dad with a trophy walking it to the... in America, the owners live the trophies, yeah?
Yeah.
But here, it's the captains. But they took the trophy to where the players can pick it up from. So at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying to people. You can't win a league without the ownership being fully engaged. And I don't see it. I don't see them ever being engaged. I don't rate Wharton, Anderson, by Guy Scott. Yeah, I like Scott. The only thing, Shaban, the only thing what I'm not sure about him is that he's had severe, massive knee injuries already in his career. And I'm not sure about it. Let me just check the poll. Yeah. I asked people, can Ederson's physicality transfer over to Prem? People are saying yes. 38% are saying no. 62% are saying yes.
Our fan base is in a mode right now that they will believe everything that we do. The discussion about the Kroenkes and the fact that you say that they are the reason why Arsenal is successful today. I mean, there are arguments for and there are arguments against. Just Kroenke can say that he has a plan. The thing is that every owner has a plan, and the plan that works is always the one that's the good plan. But there are some things that we cannot deny about Arsenal in the past 4 years is the work that Arteta did in training with his players, because there are always crucial times in that evolution. When they were talking about phases, and every other fan base was laughing at them, saying like, "Hey, what kind of phase they are now?" But we still can look at the body of work that Arteta was putting in, because they were consistently finishing second. When Arteta decided to break apart the team, when he came, decided to make them a hard to beat and defensive team and break it up, send packing the Lacazette, the Aubameyang, the Guendouzi that were staging a mutiny. One thing we can say is the ownership support him. In that, we can differentiate what the Arsenal ownership did from what our ownership did, because when it was mutiny time under Mourinho, the ownership supported Pogba and Martial. I'm a big fan of Pogba and Martial too, but I cannot deny the ownership stood by them when it was mutiny time, different from what happened with Arteta. In the same way, when it was time, when he break down that team, and now he almost repurposed the team, make it more hard to beat, and now he went back to the ownership. I think he finished 8 or 7. Um, and then went back to them and say, okay, now I'm going to start rebuilding, and I need this player. Not all the players that he signed were flop, and there was an infection when not all the players he signed were good. Some of them were flop. We can say waste of money, but there was an inflection point, I think 2 years ago, where almost half of the fan base wanted him out because he spent a lot of money and he didn't seem to cross the finish line. And when I think that was the most important decision the Kroenke had to make, because it looked like he reached his ceiling, and they could have easily made the decision to replace him with somebody that can take them across the finish line, but they decide to stick with him, and I think that's what made the difference. So I'm not sure what our owners can learn from that, but regardless of what they decide to do with Carrick, if they don't spend the money, it's not gonna work.
Big up, Ben. How you doing, bro?
Yes, big up Nerd, big up the Wani, big up the chat.
Big up, Ben.
Big up.
Is it much cooler today?
No, it's 22 degrees today. It was 22 degrees, so slightly cooler, like just by
Yeah,
2
it's a lot
degrees.
cooler. Come on.
But
It's cooler than 31.
oh yeah, 100%, man. But it was still lovely, bro. No clouds, no fucking rain, just blue sky, sunny, just perfect, man. Perfect weather, bro, for all of us, man. But yeah, big up, man. Big up the chat, man, as always, man. And free Palestine, free everyone that's oppressed around the world. That's
Big up.
the state that never exists.
Yeah. Big up and love to you, Ben. We're just talking about some of the transfers tonight. We're talking about Ederson, just thinking if Ederson's physicality would transfer over. But big up to Jamie Wintonura. Do you know about Ineos if Nice get relegated? Well, I don't know what's happening. Innit? It's the game. Are they going to play the playoff game to see who gets relegated? Is that what's happening? Yeah, big up Palace, man. Big up to the people in South London.
Big up Palace.
I really like Real Vallecano as well. I really like the people there, but big up to the people. Nuruddin, do you hear about Ineos? We don't have money for Anderson. They're already doing the PR. Of course. But they said he was their number one target. But take it away. Take it away with that one there. People get voting, and please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I'm just going to nip to the news. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about Ederson, look, if we sign Ederson, you know, obviously I'm gonna back him, just like I backed Ugarte, just like I backed every other player that was signed. And look, it's not my choice. He's definitely down the list for me. Do I think it's, you know, a good sign of what we need right now? No. In my opinion, I still think he's a very attacking-minded player. Do I like his intensity? Yes, I do. I do like his intensity, his pressing. I think that definitely is a big factor. But we can't forget that he's coming from the Italian league. It's just a very like it's similar to like, well, it's probably like the most like slowest league in the world, man. And like we know what Scott McTominay is performing so well over there, so it just says it all, man. And look, I like Scott. I think he's a great lad, but if Scott McTominay can go over there and perform, and everyone's saying Ballon d'Or for McTominay, man, like, you know, then there's no surprise that Ederson's doing really well over there, man. Look, if he can transfer that to the Premier League, that's $1 million question. Sandro Tonali was able to do it. I remember we were listened to you earlier on about Tonali. But the thing is with what Tonali has that Ederson doesn't have is physicality. And you need that in the Premier League. And if you want to play alongside Kobe Mainu, because like what people need to understand this as well is the fact that people are saying in the chat, people are thinking, send us all over online, saying, "Oh, don't worry, Ben, don't worry, United fans. He's not going to be the midfielder that's going to be playing alongside Kobe Mainoo, but we don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know that until next season, obviously. So if Ederson comes in and say he brings in, say, a Fernandes and a Baleba, we don't know what Carrick's midfield two is going to be. We don't know until the first game of the season. And so let's just wait. If we get Ederson, I'm going to back him 100%. Just like any other player, if it's another shit player or whatever, I'm going to back him. See how he gets on in the Prem and just take it from there, man. Like, I just think, we just got to give a player a chance, man. I think the Ugarte criticism, obviously was a wee bit too harsh. Like, I just think he wasn't the right profile. I think it's the exact same with Ederson. I just don't think he's going to be the right profile of what we need. I think people are getting a wee bit too ahead of themselves in terms of, Carrick demands intensity. Man United demand intensity from the league, from this team, and I think that's what Ederson brings. But in terms of his like defensive attributes, his aerial ability, that what Casemiro had, his like just overall game, like it's just not what we need, man. Like we've lost so many defensive minded players in the past, like Carrera, Pogba, Matic. I'll even include Fred in that as well because. But yes, say whatever you want about Fred, man, but the guy never was afraid to tackle anyone or slide tackle anyone or just like stand like just have a go at the player. And he was never afraid to do that, man, and he was always that's why I liked about Fred a lot. But anyways, yeah, man, look, we'll have to see what happens with Ederson, man. It's not my choice. And if we're going to be buying Ederson, I'll say it again. If you're going to be buying Ederson and you're going to be an owner of Man United and your first signing is going to be Ederson,
apparently it's a Casemiro replacement according to the Sunday Times, according to the Times newspaper.
But I just said this sooner. Like people all over online and even in the chat last few streams, people are always saying to me, "Ben, he's going to be the third midfield signing. Relax. But we don't know that. We don't. I just said to Luani, we don't know until the first game of next season for Ederson. We do not know who's going to be the midfield two. It might not even be Kobe Mainoo in the midfield. It might not be. We just need to know what we do over the summer and just take it from there. Look, I wish him all the best if he joins us. It looks like it is going to be happening, but I just worry about his physicality. I worry about his defensively minded, if he's defensively minded and stuff. Look, I've watched a lot of his highlights, man. And honestly, bro, he just looks like a very attacking minded player, man. And we just can't afford that. We've missed Matic, we've missed Pogba, Herrera, and like I said, I just mentioned Fred. We missed all these fucking players, Casemiro as well. We're missing all these players that yes, they had an attacking threat in them as well, but defensively they know what to do. They know where to be on the pitch. Like their positional discipline was second to none at times, man. And yes, obviously, say what you want about Casemiro if you want to call out him, man. But the guy knew how to defend and knew where to sit, even though he lost his legs, man. But he knew where to be on the pitch, and that's what we need, man. And I'm just sick. I don't want to be buying any more players right now that are so attacking minded. Like I think Kobe Mainoo is the perfect midfielder we have right now. That we just need to match his profile, but someone a wee bit slightly more defensive so it can allow Kobe to progress up the pitch more. And yeah, but I'm gonna wish him all the
it's supposed to be Ederson, but we need better than Ederson. I personally.
Yeah, but Ben, I think that when it comes to midfield signing, it doesn't have to come in a particular order, right? But when you look at Ederson and his attributes, even though it looked like it will be harder to translate into the Premier League, we don't have his profile in our team. The closest to him is Ugarte, but he's more technical. He have a bit more about him on the ball than Ugarte. So he's welcome in that sense. But maybe this whole thing is just propaganda. If you hear from the news that he's our market signing, we're bringing him to replace Casemiro, maybe it's the club deliberately putting this out because the strategy behind his signing, especially that early, is to send the signal to other clubs that look, we have our market signing, so they don't have to fleece us when we go for other players. You sign that player and you can tell them that, hey, you know what, you have your midfielder, you don't need You don't need to spend big money on any other midfielder. So that might help the other. That might help us being in a better negotiating position. Remember, the old board used to always be late with the training, and we end up having to face clubs that are inflating the value of the player they want to sell to us because we are in a desperate position. Now this transfer, it look like the strategy is different. They're doing it early, and they putting some news out, obviously, maybe to test the waters or to confuse the other club a little bit. As for if it's gonna work, I don't know, but let's trust this board. I can't believe I'm saying that. Let's trust them for right now. It's just a bit too early. That's all I'm saying. It's a bit too early.
Pick up Jarvis. I hope it's a lovely day in Norway. I hope you're well. We've
Yeah,
got the
I'm
rain
good,
back next week. We've got the rain back next week in the UK, so Ben will be happy. Ben will be happy. The rain is back next week.
No golf. No fucking golf, man. For fuck's sake.
Nah, why not? Why not? You can golf when it's raining outside. It's
Oh,
good.
hard,
It's good
man.
for you. It's fresh, and you get all the pitch for yourself. That's a good thing.
True.
Yeah. Big up, guys. Big up,
Big up,
Bendo,
Jarvis.
Nuruddin,
Big up,
all of you
Jarvis.
guys. By the way, I sent the link to Stu, so he might jump on for
Oh,
10,
big up.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
love to see.
So yeah, interesting. I think it's almost confirmed 100%. Ederson is coming to Man United, and
Yes.
I
And
think the
question
price
is,
tag
and the
price tag
question
isn't
is,
too
Jarvis,
bad.
question
Say
is,
again?
can his physicality, tenacity, intensity transfer to the Premier League? We're talking about the slowest league in Europe, one of in the top leagues. It's more tactical, positionally. I'm not going to worry about him positionally because one thing about Italy, positionally, they work a lot on tactical positioning. So I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried is that can his intensity, physicality, the three lungs, what you talked about last night, can that transfer over to the Premier League? Take it away.
Well, it's a multi-layered question, but if you go by the data, if you see on players that signed from Italy, from the Serie A, there have been some successes in the Premier League. We saw last summer Arsenal signing Calafiori. He's done quite well this season. He's won the league. He's played a lot of games. Tonali, obviously, is one guy who came in Newcastle and did really well, coming from AC Milan. I think Romero, the Spurs centre-back, came from Genoa, if I'm not wrong. And there are other players, like Kulusevski came in from Juventus. You had the Fulham guy, the midfielder who plays with Thunderbirds. What's his name? Sasa Lukic. He came from Turin. So again, it's not like every player coming from the Serie A is too slow. Some of them adapt, and when I read the stats of Ederson, I think it looks good. It looks really good. If you compare Serie A and Premier League, if you go by most sprinting distance, he's third. If you combine the two leagues, all midfielders of Serie A and Premier League is third on that list. So sprinting distance is very important. It's about recoveries. It's about interceptions. It's about all of this. So again, I think it could come good, even though, because I'm more worried when we get slow players in, like Josh Xerxes. He was a slow player, and I don't see Ederson as a slow player. If you go by this, he's also the third fastest midfielder if you compare both leagues. So he has pace in his legs. That's also a positive. And also, we all remember Ji-sung Park, three lungs. And this guy, he has the most distance covered out of all of them, in all of the midfielders in both Serie A and Premier League. So again, some of his stats, it comes very good for him. So I'm not going to sit there and defend Ederson, but I like what I see. I like what I see when it comes to the stat, and I think he could come good because of all of this.
Jarvis, I agree. He was man of the match.
And he has
for
an
me.
engine. He brings physicality. And
Yeah,
he
he
has an
bullied
engine
by
to sprint.
Leverkusen. He bullied by Leverkusen. in that final, in the Europa League a couple of years ago. He bullied them. Absolutely bullied them.
And also, Nuruddin, you talk about
the best
tactic,
midfielder on the football pitch.
The tacticality of Serie A. Those players, they know how to hold their position, be patient. And we know that Carrick likes to play this 4-4-1-1 or 4-4-2 formation in defense. And it's all about shifting from one side to the other side. And I think he will be more disciplined than a player like Casemiro, because Casemiro sometimes loses his position. He gets a little bit too eager. He rushes in, and so also I think he can stabilize our midfield a little bit more.
His pressing stats are really good. His pressing stats are really good.
Yeah. So I'm not going to start by being negative to Ederson. He's not the Elliot Anderson signing that we all wanted, but I think it's a start. It's cheap, 34 million plus 4 or 5 million in add-ons. That's not too bad for a midfielder. When you see Barcelona paying 70 million for Anthony Gordon, it tells you a little bit about the market today and how much a player costs. So the price tag is fairly cheap. And there were also reports coming out, as we talked about yesterday, that United still are set on signing a 100 million pound signing, or 100 million
that's
euros.
from the Sun, though. That's from the Sun. That's from the Sun newspaper.
It's Luckhurst. It's Luckhurst. But Luckhurst knows Man United. He knows Man United. You can like him or not, but he's been very.
Jarvis, they could be saying that to get so that everybody buys the new kit and all of that.
Obviously, it could be.
We've seen this before. We've seen it before, Jarvis.
We have.
According to the Times newspaper, they've got things right in the past. They said Ederson is the replacement for Casemiro.
Yeah,
but one thing I will tell you, a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, said he saw Mateus Fernandes in Manchester about 10 days ago.
I believe he will come to us.
And I said to him, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Yeah, he was in Manchester."
If we were to sign him, he will be the most complete midfielder that we will sign. He's
only 21 years old. But going back to Ederson, to me, if he's the third midfielder out of 3, I don't mind that, because we can be patient till he adapts to the pace in the Premier League. But he's a physical guy, and I just remember how he bullied teams in the Champions League, in the Europa League final. That's the only game that I've watched from beginning to end, to be fair, where I watched him from minute 1 to the last minute, and I thought he was super impressive. Remember, he was linked with Liverpool before they signed, McAllister and stuff like that. So he's been linked with a lot of players.
Yeah, but Atalanta has been trying to push him to sign a new contract. That's the thing, and he haven't signed a new contract. They still have 1 year left on his contract. And he won't sign another contract. And they try to even put him out of the team and not playing him for not signing a new contract. But if you look at the data, Ederson is in blue. He's more of an all-rounder. If you compare him with, for example, Casemiro, you can see Casemiro, he wins a lot of more possession once, and he's better in duels. But Ederson is better in passing, key passes, progressive passes, forward passes. And he's also a ball carrier. So
he's a ball carrier.
I would say he's more composed on the ball.
He's very good on the transition, very good on the press.
I don't know. I'm not too sure. I haven't watched a lot of Ederson, but I do know with Casemiro what he brings in terms of his experience and the instinct that he has cannot be substituted. Because Ederson will come to the Premier League, he still have to go through a period of adaptation. So based on his physical attribute, we don't know what transfer best, because everybody is good in possession until you come to the Premier League, and then they move into you a bit faster. You have less time on the ball, and then we start having a different conversation. So we need to wait and see when it comes to him. But Casemiro, you see, when he came in, literally, he was one of our best player from the get-go. regardless of system. Amorim tried to bench him, but he didn't have any other choice than to bring him back into the lineup. So I'm not too sure if he's that easily replaceable. Yeah, in terms of the leg, yes, I agree. But the way Carrick is playing his midfield, I don't even think legs matter because he keep everybody compact and close to each other. If he was in Amorim system now, I'll be like, yeah, maybe you might have a point because even Kobe was not able to accommodate.
It's a decent point, Luan, but I also see that I think you need the physicality to cover a lot of ground. And big up, Stu. Big up. Welcome to United Real Therapy. Or maybe not ready to say it.
Big up, all. Big up.
Big up. So glad you could come on, but I'm just going to finish my point on Ederson. I'm just going to say that I think the physicality matters, and covering ground is so vital, because if you have one guy, it frees up Kobe Mainoo. He can be more fresh. He can have more fresh legs. He don't have to track back every time because Ederson will be there to intercept, win the ball, and start over again. So again, I think it's important. We shouldn't underestimate the importance of having someone who can run for two.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say is that can he transfer? That's my only worry. I think in Italy he was quite good. Like I said, the only full game that I watched from Ederson was the Europa League final against Bayer Leverkusen, and he dominated that midfield. Big up, Stu. Stu, welcome. How are you? Enjoying the sunshine?
Yeah, well, I've just been kicking the ball around for an hour and a half, so that wasn't the wisest move tonight. So tired, sunburnt, the usual crap. But big up, everyone. Thanks for the invite. I've been meaning to try and join for a while, but
you're more than welcome.
Never had the opportunity. So big up, all. Yeah,
big up. Ederson, are you happy with that? The Times are saying he's the Casemiro replacement, which is a bit worrying, I think. I think Anderson, for me, is the best midfielder Manchester United could get. I believe Anderson is transformative midfield player. I would almost say that he is around the £100 million Rice, Casado type of player for me. Because I think he's got levels to go. That's me personally. But other people, it's an opinion. Some people think that he's not the one who's going to solve it. I don't think we just need Anderson. We're going to need more people than just him for Manchester United to get up the levels, especially now that Pep's gone, run away. Because the one, when I said it, go and check it out 2 weeks ago, when I heard the rumours, I said that he's going to go on because the 115 is incoming. Finally, the 115 is incoming and he's getting up before that. And obviously, Liverpool are where they are. So there's an opportunity for Manchester United to close the gap this season. But what do you think of Ederson and Anderson? And what do you think United should do in midfield, Stu?
Well, I said on Mine Jarvis's channel, Tactical Devils, that Ederson would be okay, but he wouldn't be the first choice for me. Now, I've been listening to Ben, and is it Lalani?
Lawani, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I butcher names, fella.
No, we're good.
I butcher names. And I was
I'm the same.
Yeah, I was listening to what you guys had to say, and I kind of agree with both of you. You can't hang your hat on Anderson. And therein lies the worry that a lot of fans who've seen what Ineos have done in the past, have seen what the Glazer have done in the past, we make an early signing, and then we go to sleep for 2 to 3 weeks. And we can't afford to do that. We've got to make sure whatever we do, that we are bringing in at least 2 midfielders before the World Cup starts. Who those 2 are, I don't know. Now, everybody knows who watches the Tactical Devils. You know as well, Nuruddin, that Balaba's a big favourite of mine. Now, he hasn't had a stellar season whatsoever, but from a point of view where you can utilise a trio of midfielders, he's very good in a certain area or two to three certain areas, but he doesn't fill out where Ederson would fill out. So Ederson's not quite as good in possession one, tackles one, ball overturn, etc. But Ederson is better in a whole area rather than Balaba's a specialist in a smaller area. So I think whatever we do, we have to go with a trio that's different, but can actually work together. And that's, I think, going to be our biggest problem. Because me and Jarvis were talking about a variety of different midfielders that can come in. Sangare is one big, Jarvis.
I love that kid. I absolutely love that kid.
Tuameni is another one that you would consider to be, a ball winner as well as a progressor, can stride with the ball and things of that nature. So I don't mind Ederson. Jarvis knows where my first choice was. And if you're going to run alongside Mainu, I don't think Ederson's strong enough. If you're going to bring in Ederson to replace Casemiro, I don't think Ederson's strong enough. He's not going to come in and replace 8 goals, is he? 7 with the head, or 9 goals, whatever he scored.
Yeah.
He's not
a big goal threat, by the way. He's not known for his goal scoring or the final key passes. He's very much a midfield player.
Yeah, exactly. So I've got an issue with discipline. I think discipline could well be a problem. Yeah, and also discipline positionally. Will he stay 10 yards away from Maguire, for example? Will he stay 30 yards away from Maguire? Can he get back if he is 30 yards away from Maguire and somebody hits the pocket? So that's a big issue for me. We know that Balaba's got the athleticism to do that. He can win balls on the deck. Not great in the air, Balaba. And he can, a good 6, by the way, is a 5 to 10 yard footballer. That's all he is. He gets the ball, he moves it 5 to 10 yards. So me and Jarvis and Mark actually, was it 2 weeks ago, pal? When we did the
analysis,
when we did the analysis, I absolutely loved doing it, and it was really interesting. And we came up with, what did we come up with? We came up with Balaba, Fernandes, and Maino, didn't we?
Yeah. I think that's a good balance.
That was a good balance. So I'd be quite happy with that. Look, it looks like we've got Ederson coming in at 38 mil. I don't know the reason why, but it looks like that's happening. When you look at what's happening in the world of football at the moment, with Anthony Gordon and Barcelona, I mean, Jesus wept. I came out of absolutely nowhere today.
I thought he was on his way to Bayern Munich. I was quite surprised by that.
Yeah, so
apparently Bayern agreed personal terms and all that.
Yeah, done everything. Yeah, but it looks like Barcelona are coming in with the cash. So that's where I stand on it. To be honest, Nuruddin, we can't hang our hat on Ederson. We've got to add. So,
I just think, regardless of midfield that we bring in, we need to get the balance right, because if we don't get the balance right, I have the impression that Kobe Mino might be a victim of that, because Kobe Mino is he's not that, he's a ball progressor, but in terms of he's more of a horizontal ball progressor. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen.
I've seen him lately. He's tried to pass the ball forward. To be fair.
Yes, but I think that teams are already targeting him as a main ball progressor. So with all the midfielders that we're talking about, if we have Matthias Fernandes, Baleba, and Adam Wharton, you're looking at these 3 as they are all specialists of what they do. Adam Wharton, a specialist passer. Baleba is a specialist ball carrier. He can eat grass. Kobe Mino does not excel in any of those 2 attributes. So I think that it will be in our interest to move him out of the double pivot as soon as possible. Move him a bit forward. Otherwise, he will have to see the bench next year. That's my opinion.
That's quite interesting, because I actually, and Jarvis and Nuruddin will tell you more on it, I don't like a double pivot. I prefer a single 6 and 2 8s. I've always liked that. I'm not Jarvis.
Nuruddin to midfield 3.
Yeah, I talk about all the time.
Always. Yeah.
I like.
I mean, it's what saw us be unbeaten in Europe for all that time, for a long, long time. Remember, we had this incredible. It was Carlos Queiroz who was like, "We need to change it. We need to play 3 in there. We need to make sure that we can get about. We've seen what Eddie Howe's done with Tonali and the intensity and the aggression with the three, Gameres and Joe Linton. The physicality of it brings that you're not getting exposed. And to be fair, Old Trafford, you've been there, Stu. You can see, oh boy, when somebody gets on the other side of the midfield, oh boy, that ground is huge. And obviously, to me, this is really important. We play three in midfield, especially if you're going to play Maguire in a back four. You know what I mean? Like, you need to play three in midfield if you're going to play Maguire in a back four, because we know what's going to happen with Maguire. That's why he's not gone with England. Because the biggest thing Tuchel's gone, England come up against anybody with pace in the quarterfinals, we're going to get buried. Pace kills.
No, then when we have a 4-2-3-1 formation, don't you think that's three in the midfield?
No, not really.
No.
Because I
just want to say to Stu as well, a friend of mine said to me he saw George Mendes and Mateo Fernandes in Manchester about 8-9 days ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Mendes is the...
And it's somebody who I trust, by the way. He's not somebody who's going to chat rubbish.
Well, Jarvis is beaming already when he's heard that, because, look, when you look at... You actually spoke about Newcastle, and I think whatever people think about Newcastle as a club, whatever they think about Eddie Howe as a manager, whatever they think
I like Eddie Howe. I love
their midfield three is the correct balance of Guimaraes, Tonali, and Joe Linton. Now, most people don't consider Joe Linton to be anything. He came in as a striker in the UK, but he complements Tonali brilliantly, and he complements Guimaraes brilliantly. And they're one of the most balanced midfield threes, and that's what we've got to strive towards. We've got to find that 6 and those 2 8s who can work then. Because you know me, again, lads, I like 2 10s and a 9.
Yeah.
Structured in the way I like us to play. That's why we need better fullbacks. Grace isn't in the chat, is she? Because she's going to kill me if she is. But that's why we need more aggressive fullbacks. I don't like all this dicking about in the back. I don't like it. I sent Jarvis video clips of football, don't know, the way that I like football to be played. And admittedly, most of it's from the 80s, isn't it, Jarvis? I mean, incidentally, we were talking about the Brazil-Italy game in Natalia 90. It came up on a stream that I was watching, and I was watching the movement of Falcao. Luani talks about Grace, and so did Ben, actually. Ben talks about Wharton. Wharton's a very tall player, a very top footballer. Falcao is the same, but the way he just ghosted across the turf, even back then, was unbelievable. I mean, it really was. Falcao had a bit more aggression. Adair with that beautiful left foot of his. Paolo Rossi. And they got and we all forget about that Brazil side. They got the donkiest striker, that Cesar, ever. If you remember him, he was an absolute donkey. He couldn't hit anything for toffee.
Was it a Bandor? Was it 82?
He couldn't. 82. Sorry, couldn't hit a Bandor. And the thing is, but everyone else, like Zico, he had Zico around him to help him. He had Adair around him to help him. And he had all these players, and so
Socrates.
Yeah, the reason I'm saying this is because that's what we need. And if we do get a Belaber in, we're going to need players around to help him. So if he wins the ball, they've got to have players available to take it off him. And that's why I call him a 5 to 10 yard footballer.
The only thing that I'll be happy with, if Ederson, we sign him, by all means, the Times are saying that if he's anything like Joe Linton, if he's anything like the physicality Joe Linton shows in the Premier League, then we'll be good. But that's the reason why I didn't want João Gomez. João Gomez's discipline is shocking. He fouls. He committed some of the most fouls, and he's going to a league where the referees are absolutely whistle happy. He's going to Spain where every little thing gets honestly. I mean, to be fair, Simeone would love that because he disturbs the game and it stops the game. But one thing about Ederson, he does give fouls away. But coming back to Mateus Fernandes, Jarvis, talk to me why you love him so much.
Can you see the drool on his just on the corner of his mouth?
No, guys. What I like about him is his deep line passing. He's so good at switching the play. Just watching him. Obviously, it's hard to judge a player when he's playing in a very struggling team that's getting relegated.
It's true. It's true. But what I see when I see Mateus Fernandes, and he caught my eye very early. I talked about him on my channel long before people even knew who that guy was. And why? It's because when I look at players, okay, they have skills, but I think skills can be cultured. You can learn new things even as a professional, and you can become better with good coaching. But also. But also, I want to say, when it comes to Mateus Fernandes, he has the right attitude. He's not afraid. He never hides. When I look at West Ham play, he always goes for the ball. He's almost like Bruno in a way. He shouts for the ball. He wants the ball. He gets attracted to the ball, and he wants to do something. He's a guy that makes things happen. And for me, that's what I was used to when I was growing up watching Man United, seeing Paul Ince, seeing Roy Keane, seeing Mark Hughes, Brian McClare, all of this, Pally and Steve Bruce, and all of this, Dennis Irvin, all of them, none of them hide. When the ball was around, they invited, they wanted to do something, make something happen, and this is what I like about Mateus Fernandes. He's that type of player, and Stu mentioned Shea Lacey as a proper Man United player, because it has the initiative. It takes the initiative sometimes, and that's what I like by Mateus Fernandes, because I'm sick of all of these Ugartes and we have had so many poor midfielders through the years, and McTominay, we talked about him in games, hiding in big games, hiding away, getting afraid, 1-0 down, 2-0 down, you hardly see them. They go as anonymous as they can through the last 50 minutes of the game because we are 2-0 down. They don't take any responsibility, and I don't think Mateus Fernandes is that type of player. And also, when you look at it, if we can get Mateus Fernandes, we heard a price tag of 60 million was revealed a couple of days ago. I think it was Monday. And I also think we can even negotiate it a little bit further because West Ham is going down now. So again, maybe we can get him for 55 million. And now we know Ederson is 38. It might leave the window open for us getting a player like Tonali, 85, 90 million. And in some total will be about 180 million pounds. And I think that's our midfield budget. I talked about this, somewhere in between 150 to 180. And we are right on the mark now with these three signings. So for me, I think those who are coming in at the moment that looks the most realistic is Ederson, Mateus Fernandes, and Tonali for me. And there was also a report coming out tonight, and again, it's Tutto Mercado. It's an Italian site again stating, because they were right on Ederson 4 days ago, I think they were right on Ederson, Tutto Mercado, and then they come out again now saying that Manchester United are now prepared to push for Sandro Tonali and is valued of 100 million euros. That's about 85 million.
He's got 2 years left on his contract, and Barcelona just signed Anthony Gordon for.
Yeah, but Newcastle through their cards right now. They are a selling club. They are willing to sell their best players. Look at Isak. So again, I think players and
to me, I'm not gonna lie to you.
They have no Europe.
I'm not gonna lie to you. If we can get him, I'd rather get Anderson than Tonali.
Yeah, but we can't get Anderson. I think that's the problem.
If we're getting 100 million, you might as well throw in the extra to go and get Anderson.
And another thing, I just want to finish my point before. And another thing is his salary. Ederson's salary came out tonight, 5 million euros a year. That's roughly 87,000 pounds a week. That's nothing when you talk about. You see players like Mason Mount. He's on 200k. So it's sensible wages too. So again, I think there are possibilities we can bring in players now in the 85 to 100 million bracket. There is an opening at least. Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, and I like Fernandes, man. I really do like him. I think he would be more in favor with Kobe's role. I think him and Kobe would have a really, really good competition between the two. Like Stu said, like everyone else has said, Man United need to play a three-man midfield, bro. We need it. We've seen this in the past with Ollie when he came in, obviously with the Herrera, Pogba, Matic midfield three, and look what happened. Look what happened after that. Ollie went on an 11-win streak or whatever it was, and it's just crazy, man. Because I think this whole like number 10 role is just all faded away. And one thing I like about Fernandes is he's really good defensively and he's really good attacking as well. Like everything comes through him as well. Like it's not only through Juve,
But he's a little bit like Bruno, a little bit undisciplined. He drifts.
He is.
100%. But the thing is, Jarvis, I mean, me personally, like he might be not as positionally disciplined as everyone would like, but he still has that awareness of like when he's playing with what do you call the Czech Republic guy, Souček. When he plays with Souček in the midfield, he's always aware of where he is. Like if he's too far ahead of him or he's too far behind him, like he's always aware of what's going on the pitch, and that's one thing I actually really like about Matheus Fernandes. Now he wouldn't be my like go to. Obviously, Nurden obviously has just mentioned Elliot Anderson, but we have to accept, Elliot Anderson is not coming to Man United. We know who owns our football club, man, and we just have to let that one go, bro. But honestly, man, like if you bring in a Tonali,
if the charges come and they get in deducted points, do you think Elliot Anderson will be wise to go to City?
No. Who knows, Nurden? Who knows? Who knows? Like, the thing is,
Ramo, though, by the way, he says, if he's a City fan, he's a City fan, innit?
Yeah,
we're not begging him, but yeah.
But honestly, man, like if you brought me in a Fernandes, a Tonali, and an Ederson, I wouldn't personally mind it. But like I said, it all comes down to what Michael Carrick wants to do. Forget about the signings for a sec. It all comes down to Michael Carrick's system. If Michael Carrick wants to stick with this 2 double pivot, I seriously will be worried with Tonali and Ederson, and to some degree Matheus Fernandes. I just worry about all three of them because, I don't think they'll actually have like time to like adapt to Carrick's system in a way, because obviously with West Ham's team, they're a very defensively compact system, whereas Carrick's system, it's more so it's on the width that need to do their job defensively. And if the width don't do their job defensively, we've seen what Ryan Giggs was like. We've seen what Ronaldo was like. Nani was like defensively. If them wingers aren't doing their job defensively, and Bruno as well, then we're going to be in trouble, man. We're going to be in trouble. So look, Matheus Fernandes, absolutely, I bring him to Man United, 100%. I'd snatch him, 100%. And we got to capitalize it as well, because West Ham got relegated. I can't believe they're quoting him for 60 million. Since they got relegated, in my eyes, he should be at least worth 35, 40 million, not 60, bro. Not 60, in my opinion.
Yeah. They bought him for 38 million. Go ahead, Luana. They bought him for 38 million. And plus, I think Southampton have got 15%.
Sell on the profit.
Yeah.
When it comes to Elliot Anderson, it's not that I don't rate him. I went back and watched the last game of Forest just to see the way he moved the ball. On the last stream, I was saying that I'm not too sure about him as a first phase player. But when I watched the game, it came out that he's actually very proficient in moving the ball out of the build-up phase. The only thing I'll have to say about him is just he's, for me, a bit more of a jack of all trade. He can do a bit of everything, but he doesn't really.
He's a throwback. He's a complete midfield player. He can do it all.
Yeah, I just want to say that he's a specialist. Like, for example,
specialists. Specialists are a modern thing in football. You know that midfielders, you will tell you, can be able to do everything. Roy Keane did everything, box to box. 1 minute he's tackling in our own box. Next minute he's up there getting a shot off.
No, ideally you want them to be able to do everything, but the way
and the Dungas of this world were very rare. These number 6s who sit there, they're very. But
the way modern football is structured, you can look at the player and say that he excels as a specific thing, right? For example, Baleba, you can say he excel at ball carrying, and Adam Wharton, he excel at passing the ball. Now, I just wanted to go back to the notion of what Stu say about the single pivot. I agree with him. Single pivot is the future of football, especially when you want to commit so many men forward. But if you do, then what happened in terms of what kind of team do you become at that point? Because we see a lot of do you want to play with 2 10s or you want to play with 2 8? In that case, when we look at our team, and I think Liverpool on the club play more with a 2 8.
Yes.
And then when you look at Pep tend to play more with 2 10. Now, when we look at what we're doing currently, the reason why I think that the 4-2-3-1 is the most popular formation right now is that even if you play with one single pivot, you still have 2 midfielders that you can commit forwards, regardless of if you want to play them in a 10 or an 8. But the reason why we are not seeing this as we have 3 midfielders in there is because Bruno does a lot of his damage, and he does a lot of his job on the wing. He tends to drift completely out of the midfield. I'll be curious to see his heat map compared to the heat map of every other team that play in a 4-2-3-1 and has a 10. For example, if I compare him to Krupi, right? Krupi, I think this is the same formation. They play in the 4-2-3-1, and Krupi play in that 10. I'd like to see his heat map.
Krupi doesn't always play there. It's Christie usually, but go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually Christie.
So, Christie, I think Christie and the other guy, Scott, play in a double pivot. But the reason why we don't look at it as a double pivot is they do the pump thing. When one stay, one always go. I think we do the same thing with Casemiro and Kobe Mino. But because Bruno tend to drift all the time, he follows the ball actually because he won it all the time. He drifts out of that front. We don't have like a vertical line of passing, or even when the ball goes to you'll notice when the ball goes to our left back, our full back, they don't tend to find a 10 in the middle that he can pass the ball to, and that can open up the pitch to our inside strikers because whether we want it or not, Cunha is more of an inside striker and Mbomo is an inside striker. Only Ahmad is the one that tend to hug the wing a bit more than the others. So I'm not too sure, regardless of who we bring in,
and that's why we need very mobile fullbacks that can stretch the play. And then it's easier to open up. What have we struggled with so many years? We struggle against low block. Low block, you have to make the pitches wide as you can.
Yes.
Wide as you can. So, and you have to quickly rotate that ball and move it. The good thing about signing Mateus, what it will do, it will free up Fernandes not dropping deep. And actually, it might force for Bruno Fernandes to stay in the number 10 position maybe, because we'll have somebody who can get the ball to him.
And Nuruddin, low block with a back 5 is still, even if you make that pitch wide, is to shall not pass, because I've seen that guy did that. That guy did that to us. What's his name? What's his name? Eddie Howe did that to us. Eddie Howe play like a 5-4-1 when we played them.
Fullbacks that don't attack, bro. What are we doing here, Lubani? We've got Luke who gets a nosebleed when he gets past the halfway line. And we've got Diego Dalot who just
he's thinking about his Big Mac.
Can I just chime in for 1 second? I kind of agree with what Luan is saying, and Jarvis will start grinning now because I talk about this a lot as well, as you well know. I like versatility and rotation in our front three, and we don't rotate enough. And when Luan is talking about Bruno going to the left, there's nothing to stop Cunha coming in and dropping into Bruno's place or position, and he doesn't do that. And that's rotational football, and we don't do it. And we've got the players actually to rotate. We've got Jarvis in the summer was the first to make a point about Mbomo playing right wing back. Okay, he was the first person to do it, and he demonstrated the way that Mbeumo played for Brentford, and he would play the final third right on the touchline slightly until we play that third. But Mbeumo also has the ability to play across the front three. But when do we see Cunha switch to going deep? Because his best position is ball carrying as an 8, as we know. He's not a left winger. I think he's been brilliant considering we played him out of position. And then people are talking, well, we've got Dorgan coming to play left, but we don't play natural wingers, do we?
No.
And the reason we don't play natural wingers is because what don't we do? We don't fucking cross the football. We don't cross the football for anybody. It doesn't matter who's in there. It doesn't matter if Jarvis is in there. We don't cross the fucking football, even if you can't get your head up.
And we've got 6'5" striker.
Yeah, so that's why I like versatility. That's why I like rotation. So what Lewani is talking about, I totally agree with him. I really got on board with what he's saying. I can hear the frustration. I've heard Ben talk about it on many occasions. The way that you feel, the way, I think it was a few weeks ago, Ben. I do listen, by the way, to your show. I just don't always comment, but I do listen and and listen to what you say. And Bruno frustrates a lot of fans, not because of his ability as a footballer. It's that he drifts in and out of games, but what he'll do is drift into the position that maybe Cunha or Mbeumo wants to take up. So we're losing their qualities, and we're losing. He wants
to do it all.
Yeah, we're losing our effect on the game. You see, and I've heard a lot of you guys talk about that over the past few weeks, and it's true, and it really does rile the fan base because we're talking about the Football Writers Player of the Year. The Premier League Player of the Year, the
Premier League the Player of the Week.
I know, and as Jarvis knows, the Pass King of the season, because I'm not going to but ultimately, we've got those players. So what I'm saying is, those front six could really be quite dangerous if we do bring a Fernandes in, and we have a specialist six that allows the other players to come off the leash in many ways. Carrick's got to let them off the leash. So I just don't want to see a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, a 4-4-2. I want to see a mix of all of that during a game of football, and we've got the potential to do it. It will never happen, by the way, guys. So it's just pie in the sky.
I'm going to stay with you. Go ahead, Ben. I'm going back.
That's what I've always wanted. I don't think the rotation side of things is like massive for the attacker at the moment, because right now Man United's biggest issue is not realistically the attack, it's more so the midfield. And that's how you coach a system in a way for the midfield, is you have three there, and off the ball, you all three is just stand close to each other and just move. If the ball drifts left, you all drift left. If the ball drifts right, you all drift right. That's literally how Eddie Howe's installed his system in Newcastle. Anyone can say whatever they want about Eddie Howe. Just look at the midfield, man, and that's how you coach a midfield, man. But look, whenever you talk about rotation, this is why we need to have a dictator as a dictator for the midfield. So someone that can actually play it from the back, and also encourage the other two midfielders to push on up. But like I said, if we got, say, Anderson to be the dictator, right, and say we have Mainu and say Bruno or Tonali or whoever it is, Anderson can then say, right, guys, go use push up here. I've got the ball here. Go use push up. Let me dictate the play. Let me dictate the tempo and all that shit. That's what we've been missing for so many years. This is why Nemanja Matic was just. He was one of we just signed him too little, too late, man. And he was such a good footballer on the ball because he dictated the play, he controlled the tempo. He knew when to slow the game down. He knew when to speed the game up. I just want. That's how you literally form a system in the midfield. Is you just have two attacking midfielders, obviously up the pitch, and then one sitting back, but off the ball, it's so crucial. You cannot just have two players alongside each other and then one ahead. You have to have three alongside each other off the ball. That you have to have that, because what it allows is obviously Bruno or whoever it is in the 10. He just runs off like a headless chicken, or whoever it is. I'm not only just saying Bruno. It could be Mainu. It could be Cunha. He can just be running off and out of position, and that just leaves a huge gap in that midfield. Meaning, obviously, Mainu or Tonali or whoever it is, just so vulnerable. And the thing is, as well, whenever your midfield is so vulnerable, the defense is vulnerable, because you have the defense is not all about your back four. It's actually about the midfield. The defense actually has to have a lot of faith in the midfield, and this is why Ruben Amorim's system was such a bad system, because what he called the two in midfield weren't doing their job right off the ball. They weren't.
Yeah, I just wanted to say quick, right? When it comes to Bruno, I also want to. I look at not some stat, but his passing spectrum, right? Most of the pass that he makes them like diagonal inside. And I try to remember the game in which any of those passes are on the floor, and I see like maybe two of those passes are on the floor. So makes me think he put in early crosses from unorthodox position. Meaning he completely ignored the overlap. Like overlap exists for a reason. If you have Luke Shaw and you have Dalot on the other side of Mazraoui, and as a midfielder you are ignoring the overlap and you decide to put in early crosses, it's for a reason why they want players to bring the ball to the byline, do a cutback or cross the ball. If you have a left footer on the left foot, that bring the ball on the by all the way to the corner flag before crossing it. That's an out swinger. Same thing on the other side with a right footer on the right corner flag. That's an out swinger. And as a striker, it's always better to have out swinger, because you come to meet the ball. You don't have to generate power when you have an out swinger. So I don't know, that unorthodox way of playing. Sometimes, of course, you have the runner, Mbomo is in or on the shoulder. It's good, but most of the time the defenders will read it, and that way of playing does not help us even beat the offside anyway. So I don't know why this guy is all the time. He wants to be a hero, and then he's spamming the ball in all the time, and it's it makes him worse that we play through him. Okay, so when is the last time have you seen our fullbacks bombing forward, getting the ball in space and crossing it? At least during Amorim, when we're playing with wingback, Amorim's system was forcing every midfielder at least to do 2 or 3 switch of play a game, and then by that point you find the ball in the air. You get to Ahmad really quickly, and Ahmad can isolate his fullback or be in a ton of space, or Dogu can be in a ton of space and take a shot on a crack on goal. But now, because Carrick's system is reliant on us being compact, it's almost like as a result of Bruno, the way he plays, it's almost like our fullback say, you know what? What's the point of running 50 yards or 100 yards trying to overlap? I'm not gonna get the ball anyway, and I'm gonna have to run back. Yeah. What the hell?
Thing is, man, like, sorry, go on. Oh yeah. Do you remember back like all those years ago? Do you remember we had the perfect fullback and Antonio Valencia on the right hand side, and then we had that young kid that loads of fans were actually getting onto, even though he was a kid. But I saw
Jackson.
Yes, Jarvis. Yes. Yeah. He was absolutely phenomenal, man. And look, he was still young. His crossing was absolutely second to none. And we literally, like, imagine we had Valencia right now in his prime and Buffett Jackson on the left, bro. Like, both of them are just overlapping both the wingers all the fucking time, man. And that's one thing I loved about back in those days, man. He actually was such a blessing in disguise, man. Buffett Jackson.
And we also had Varela, the Uruguayan.
Varela,
he also had a good cross on him. Yeah.
Really good, man.
Well, because Van Gaal believed in that. Big up. Somebody says here, Mateus Fernandes, Alex Scott, Ederson will be a wicked winner. The only thing about Alex Scott, I've been looking into his injury record, man. Injury record's not great. I really like the player. The he's already had an ACL. He's had other knee injuries. He's had some bad injuries, and I'm just a bit. I don't want anybody. Somebody asked about Ben Nelson, 6'5" centre half. Yeah, I saw it being United being linked to him, but he looks slower than bloody Maguire. And he's 22. Nah, I don't want anybody who's slow, man. I need quick, very good, quick centre halves. That's what Manchester United need. If we're ever gonna try to play the modern way, that means halfway line football. Players who can play one-on-one. That's what we need. I don't need somebody to replace Maguire who's 6'5", and turns like a double-decker bus. I don't need that at United. No thanks.
Careful now. We have Stu on. His biggest fan.
Ben Nelson.
No. Maguire, Harry.
And Ronaldinho as well.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I think he's got better in terms of his aggressiveness since Ten Hag's got there. So he attacks. He's no longer cautious. He's no longer a cautious guy. But
That's my guy right there. That's
There it
my guy.
is. There it is. Yeah, I said that to
really,
Jarvis
honestly,
early.
I genuinely think Manchester United should be moving away from Maguire, and I was shocked they offered him a new contract. Honestly,
I don't think he'll play.
And I
much
still
this
think that
season.
he's good. I think you've been injury prone. I think that's the weirdest about talking about. We're all obsessed with midfielders, but we need centre halves. We're weak. We conceded 50 goals this season, right? So Martinez injury prone. Maguire was injury prone before he broke into the team. And then we got Delay, and we know what back injuries do. Back injuries.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, the thing is,
he's had a surgery for a back.
Oh yeah,
that's
we're not going to see. We're not going to see Delict until I reckon October, November at the earliest, if he comes back. What's interesting for me, you're right about Maguire, and I am his biggest fan because he plays my way. He gets stuck in. He doesn't fuck about, and I like that about him. I was a massive Steve Bruce fan. I mean, fuck me, the guy's as ugly as fuck because he got.
Sorry, Steve Bruce was leveled. I'm sorry, Stu.
No, he was. Yeah,
Steve Bruce was leveled.
He was leveled.
Steve Bruce is reading the way he used to read. He was like a snooker player, 4 or 5 moves ahead.
He made my team of the year, my Premier League team, my Manchester United Premier League team.
Steve Bruce was unbelievable. By the way, people, we're talking about a guy who's Steve Bruce. He's the reason why we won the first league. I was there.
Wow,
I got kicked out twice.
Yeah, I love Bruce.
The
thing about the only other thing,
Sheffield
Wednesday. The only thing they were doing, the only other thing they were doing, I'd say about Maguire is what you miss when he comes out the team is his heading ability. Now, a lot of people, it's quite important his heading ability, and he's very, very good at that. But you're right. And Jarvis knows, reluctantly, I agree, because I've had to agree with him before, from a pace point of view. If somebody does hit the pocket behind Maguire, we're not getting there. And we can't play deep. We can't play a deep line. We've got to play mid to high line. And that's because that's how Kate wants to play. So Anderson from Fulham all day and any day of the week for me. Or bring in, I call out Van Hecker from Brighton. But
yeah, good choice.
De Zerbi's going to go Van Hecker shopping, isn't he? Let's be honest.
I mean, 100%. I think, but I'll stay with you on Bruno. Obviously, it's our last topic of the show. Bruno versus Keane. Now, I do think that Keane misquoted him. I do believe that he misquoted him because he felt Bruno said the opposite to what he actually said. What was Bruno said? Well, I was actually shooting more when I should have passed, maybe, and Roy Keane did that. But in terms of the overall point that he's making, he is absolutely 100% spot on. I don't care. I don't care for these people who are in the Bruno cult. We're not interested in individual unless it's part of the collective. You've done so well that United have won big trophies, and if you get some of these personal awards, then we don't mind. I mean, I just want to remind people, David Beckham finished second on the Ballon d'Or in '99. Yeah. After being absolutely slated in '98 because of what happened against Argentina. Simeone did him. Effigies. Certain football fans had effigies. They were burning effigies of Beckham. He became second in the Ballon d'Or, yeah? They gave it to Rivaldo that year. But guess who won the Writers' Footballer of the Year that year? In the Premier League. This one we did the treble.
Which season are we talking about?
99. 99.
Yes, I know that. I know. David Ginola.
David Ginola won. And this is a team that has won the treble.
Disgrace.
So, so the point I want to make to you guys is that personal trophies, and now every other day there's another thing he's winning. It's about the team. And the point I will always stress about Bruno, before I go to Stu, is that I prefer to have we play through 6 players. The more players the team you play through, the better team that you have. Look at Paris Saint-Germain. They play through all 3 midfielders, and they can play through 2 the wide guys and Dembele who drops in the hole. They play through Hakimi as well. Apparently, he might be fit. He might be on the bench, Hakimi, for the game on Saturday. So, Stu, Roy Keane versus Bruno. What are we doing here? And by the way, the reason why he's getting all these assists, as you call it, is because we play through one player, which I will never have. I love Van Nistelrooy, but I felt like we played through Van Nistelrooy. The whole team worked for Van Nistelrooy. I didn't like that. I preferred when Zaha, Rooney got into the team. Zaha was dropping off, Rooney linking up, and we played more as a team. But go ahead, Stu.
Individualism or individuals in football is the biggest killer of any team. It never works, it never has done, and it won't work in the future. When you look at, if I'm taking a pitch with 2 types of players, and if I'm taking a pitch of Roy Keane, I'm taking a pitch with Bruno Fernandes, I want to take the pitch of Roy Keane. Now, I know that Roy Keane isn't as explosive as Fernandes in terms of his finesse, but he's explosive in other ways. And Ben talked about the connectivity between deep line midfield player, centre half, and the goalkeeper. Okay, that is your central spine. That trio there, or 4, depending on how you want to play, is key, absolutely key. But those 3 positions are the workable positions. So I don't like individualism anyway. I'm not interested in assists. Player of the season, player of the year. You can only be these players by working with your teammates. You don't take a pitch by yourself. You don't start a game by yourself, and you don't finish a game by yourself. You start the game with 10 colleagues, and you finish the game with 10 colleagues if you haven't been brought up. But I'm looking for somebody that I want to sit alongside in a dressing room, or look across from a dressing room, and then look over there, talk to a mate here. I want the same as me. I want bad winners and bad losers. I want nasty fuckers. I want people with running ability, dribbling ability, tackling ability, heading ability. I want a mixture of these types of people. So if I'm coming down to it, I would have Roy Keane all day long. Now, let me just throw this spanner in the works for you. If it was a choice between Keane and Ince, I'd have Paul Ince all day over Roy Keane. And if it was a choice between Robbo and Paul Ince, I'd have Robbo all day. Now, there are similar players, Keane, Ince, Robbo. But when you look at the absolute man as a man, then you go with Robbo all day long. And that's where Bruno lets himself down. And I don't want to be overcritical about Bruno, but he will be the one player, actually, if you think about it logically, and Ben's already said it without saying it, and that is he'll be the one player to stump our progression moving forward, because you're over-reliant on him, and you can't be. So I don't think that answers your question particularly well, Nuruddin, but it's a more complicated question, as you well know, than a straight, I'll take it.
Yeah, of course. No, of course. It's more nuanced and 100%. I think you broke it down perfectly, Stu.
Yeah.
Big up to you. But for me, this Bruno worship, I'm just, like I said, I'm dumbfounded, and I hate the fact that my team plays through one player. Even though I think he's had a fantastic since January, when he was playing before on the Amarin system, he was costing us goals, and I can count up to 6-7 goals that he cost us. And even one of them, he blamed it on bloody Euro. He blamed it on Euro, which is a young kid. And when you're the captain, you should never do that.
Well, Jarvis, talk about what you sent to me. Sorry, Nuruddin.
Yeah, well, I sent the same to Nuruddin. So I don't know if you saw that, the clip of Pep Guardiola talking about what he used as a motivation for his players after beating Man United 3-0 in the beginning of this season. And we didn't show any clips of his players after the game. He only showed the pictures of Bruno yelling at his teammates after Phil Foden scored the 1-0 goal. And it made me curious of that comment. So I went back and I looked at that goal. And funnily enough, it's Bruno who's marking Phil Foden. And Bruno lets Phil Foden go, and Phil Foden scores because of Bruno missing his marker.
Of course. Smith
And,
Rowe, Fulham.
and then you see
Smith
Bruno
Rowe.
going on a hissy fit, waving his arms and yelling at his teammates after going 1-0 down when he loses his guy. So again, Pep Guardiola didn't show any footage of his players, of their performance. He only showed Bruno, and he said, "This is unacceptable at my team. You are not allowed to do this in Manchester City." So again, it's a way of showing. I don't know if you saw it. It was the Athletic who put out that article today, and it's kind of interesting, how Pep and his thought process came into this. But quickly on the Bruno Keane thing also. I don't know if you have all listened to the interview with what's his name, Steve Bartlett, Diary of a CAO, and Bruno.
Another Ineos bootlicker, by the way.
Well, yeah, but he has one of the biggest podcasts on YouTube again. So he's not a footballer per se. But again, Bruno talked about taking risks and people giving criticism for taking risks. And Bruno said, "Well, I take the responsibility on me. I'm the guy who takes risk." Because when you look at it, Mainu maybe take one risk pass a game, and Casemiro take one risk pass, and I take 4. So that's only 6. Like, he made excuses for it. But it made me think, well, that's okay. But what you're actually are saying, that you are the guy that's going to create. So you will take all the responsibility, and we will play all through you. And then that's also what we have been talking about. It weakens us as a team when you play through one player. If I was the opposition coach, I wouldn't think about it. I would just put 2 men on Bruno, man mark him, get him out of the game, and then we can't create nothing because we don't have the players up for it. We don't have the width of the team, the versatility of the squad to do something, because we are too reliant on one player. And basically, that's not criticism of Bruno. That's criticism of the setup, because we have made a setup reliant on one player. So that goes back to Carrick again. And he needs to do something, and maybe we will see a different Man United next season when we have better players. Let's say we get Matheus Fernandes, Ederson, and Tonali in, for example. We will have more creators, so maybe we will see a different team, and Bruno easing it down on the risk passing element again. But at the moment, I feel we are very vulnerable because we play through one player, and you are completely right, and you said so right away when we hired Ten Hag, Nuruddin, and we also did the same under Ole. So again, Bruno thrives when he's the guy, because he likes to be in the limelight. He likes to take chances. He likes to take the risk, and he won't be asked twice. He will take that pass.
He's full of shit.
Yeah.
Well, we can't criticize Bruno actually, because I think it's on the manager. And
you know where it came from, don't you, Jarvis? You know where this attitude came from. It was when he was going to be loaned from
Italy,
Udinese, to Watford. They were going to send him out to Watford, and that's where it comes from. Is he thought there was an inability there? There was something incorrect about the way he was playing football, which is absolute bollocks, really. Because if you don't trust yourself.
Yeah, I read that story. Story. You know why it was incorrect about him playing football? He couldn't make it in Italy, and he had to remodify his game, so it's all about stats. That's what he did. Look, I'm not gonna go hard this time, okay? I don't hate him. Just to answer the question, between him and Carrick, between him and our old captain, it's not a context. Bruno came to us on the hype of a season at Sporting Lisbon when he put 32 assists and 16 goals. That is high in comparison to what he did this year. But guess what? They didn't win anything. He left and they won something. I'm not saying what I'm saying, but I have yet to play for a manager or to play in a team that factor in turnovers as part of the calculation to win a game. Never. When I used to play, I remember, I don't care what position you play, where you play, you turn the ball over, you go run laps around the field. We used to have an exercise where they'll put cone all the way to the midfield, okay? They will space those cone, like 6 cone. They will put 2 people right on the goalpost, and to the whistle, you guys go touch the first cone, come back and touch the goalpost, go touch the second cone, go do it until you finish. By the time you get to the 6th cone at the midfield, you feel like you have concrete in your calf. The reason why the coach have us do that exercise is because it's to simulate turnover in possession. When you are in a certain phase of the game and you turn over the ball, you guys have to run back. And that, I don't think any defender likes that situation at all. In any sport you take, even in basketball, no coach goes around legislate for one person to keep throwing 3-pointers, saying that, oh, I have enough people under the rim to rebound the ball. Same thing in American football. You're a quarterback, you specialize in throwing interceptions. If it doesn't get returned for a touchdown, your defensive line is on the field more than they should, and they are tired. It's the same thing. When I look at Bruno, the way he plays the game is in such a fashion that he is costing us control. And if you have any doubt as how control is important in football, look at how consistent Arsenal is culminating with them winning the league. You can say it's as ugly as it is, but they do not beat themselves, and they never surrender the initiative to the opposing team. With Bruno in our team, we will never have control. And it's funny that the game in which we dominate when it comes to fine margin, teams that are on paper superior to us, is the game in which he take the least risk, the less risk possible. The Liverpool game, the City games that we play, he was disciplined, and we did just fine. So that notion that, oh, he's the only risk taker, there's an ebbs and flow to a football game. If you don't create chance, somebody else will create it. If chance is not created by virtue of individual brilliance, it will be created by virtue of the system that the coach designed in training. Okay, I don't understand this certain section of this fan base that have this hero cultism that, it has to be him. What does Casemiro tell you, that he doesn't know how to put a ball over the top? Look at what Kobe Mino does when he's at the edge of the box. Everything he touches is gold. Look at what he does when he gets in the box. The defenders could not get the ball off him. You take 2 or 3 people to get the ball off him. Kobe can do it. Casemiro can do it. Luke Shaw can score a goal. Everybody in a team can score a goal. You just have to be in the right position, make the right pass selection. Okay? That's why I will go back to that goal that Mason Mount, Mbomo, and Ahmad score. One of the best piece of football we've played all year long. We cannot be relying on one person. And I will never subscribe to that kind of football.
The cultists will say otherwise. The Bruno cultists will say otherwise. Go ahead, Ben.
I think that just leaves it with me, man. I mean, everyone says he's such a hater. He's such a hater. He's got an agenda. Like, the bottom line is,
you do have an agenda.
But I've never rated them though. I never rated them. So I think I was like what? I think I was like only 1%.
I love you, Ben. I love you.
I know. I never will change on. But honestly, bro, I actually think I was the only 1% of the fan base that just didn't want him to come to Man United. And look, he's done well in terms of the stats and stuff, and I'm gonna give him credit for that, man. But look, when it comes to this Roy Keane and Bruno argument, in Bruno's defense, because I'm gonna start off with Bruno's defense, Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Patrice Evra, all these players just sometimes they need to shut the fuck up at times, man. Like, stop over criticizing some of these players, the manager, the Carrick, and all that shit. Why don't you talk about Ineos? Why don't you talk about Glazers, man? Why don't you talk about that? And look, I'm very, obviously I'm Irish. I love Roy Keane. Fucking love that guy. one of the best captains ever to exist in the game. But this fucker doesn't even speak about Ineos or Glazers, man. Let alone we've seen the racist comments that he's posted this, that he's literally said this whole season. And yes, we have as a fan base have accepted his comments and moved on from it. Whereas another club, they would have demanded action and took obviously demanded
To
justice
be fair,
for that.
some
Man,
people
because
stood up against that, put banners,
yeah,
and they had banners
we
in the
did,
stadium.
Nerd, but it's not enough though, Nerd. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And like I said, man, that for Roy Keane, for Scholes, for Gary Neville, like Gary Neville was on the overlap there today, talking to Crunky, and all that Arsenal, like
I
bollocks,
saw
man.
that, yeah.
And they were giving him a fucking Arsenal T-shirt, and I'm like, no, this guy's not here for clout, just obviously speaking the owners. He's there because Mr. Gary Neville loves this fucking building houses and shit, building apartments. He wants some of that down in London, man. He wants some of that, bro. The guy just doesn't know what's going on in his fucking head, man. But honestly, bro, I'm getting sick and tired of these fucking ex-pros. Yes, please, you can still criticize Bruno, criticize Carrick, criticize any player you want, but please start criticizing these bastards and who's literally taking money from Nerdin every fucking match, from Stu every match, from me every match, from Luani, from Jarvis, anyone who fucking attends the fucking stadium, increase
Or
ticket
even buys
prices.
the TV package.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying. But look,
it's expensive. It's expensive
100%.
watching football on TV.
But that's Bruno's defense. But another thing for Bruno is a message to him and a message to everyone who gets affected by criticism is let all the I've been told as well, says Ben, you don't do enough defensive work as a wing back, and I just said I don't care, man. I don't care what any person thinks that if they're criticizing me heavily. I know what I need to do, what I need to focus as a footballer. I just do it. Forget about the words. Fuck all the words, man. And I know it's hard for as a footballer, for a famous guy to criticize you and stuff. But bro, do all that on the football pitch. Let the action happen on the football pitch. Has Bruno done well this season in terms of assists? Brilliant. He's broke the record. But prove him wrong even more. This will encourage you, Bruno, and encourage other players that have been criticised to go and do more. Go and improve our league position. Go and try and get up to second next season. Go and try and get more assists than 21 assists the next season. Get more goals. Just to shut Roy Keane and Paul Scholes up, and even Carrick as well. It's a message to Carrick as well. Shut all these ex-pros up, bro. But bro, honestly, this fucking propaganda that they have to protect the ownership, man. Even Andy Mitten as well. We've seen what happened to him, bro. It's fucking embarrassing, man. But look, on the Roy Keane, man, Roy Keane's defense, he has every right to criticize Bruno 100%. I don't know why all the fans are saying, "Oh, Roy Keane's a fraud, man." Someone even said as well, Roy Keane's not fit for the modern day football. Absolutely, he's not, because you know why? The whole game's changed, man. It's all a bunch of fucking pussies these days, man. Everyone's just too scared, man. It's being serious. Can you imagine if Roy Keane was playing in this Man United team? It'd just be so it'd be so odd, because football back in the day wasn't like what it is now, and it's stupid, man.
To be fair, the social media has made it even more worse.
Yes,
and
facts,
I understand that.
Facts.
But the biggest thing I take a point, Ben, is that they don't criticize the ownership because they're all about the brand. They're all about the brand.
They do.
I've seen Gary Neville tell Roy Keane stop criticizing Harry Maguire and David De Gea and certain players, Scott McTominay and these players. Yeah. So
just one more thing as well. It just pisses me off that I just don't understand what most of this fan base goes through our head, man. Because years and years and years ago, there was a guy called Ed Woodward. We know about Big Ed. He completely fucked the whole show up in transfers, right? Completely fucked the whole show up. We then seen Man United fans go to his house and throw flares into his.
I think that was all set up, I still don't believe that, that I still don't buy that, because how perfect was that? Some newspaper journalist happened to be with the people who were.
Yeah.
I find that really weird.
It's weird. It's weird. But look. Say if it was true, right? Let's hindsight. Say if it was true, and they did throw flares into it. He was the wrong person to go after and throw the flares in. I whether we believe it or we agree with it or not. But look, if we seen that there was flares going into Sir Jim's house or the Glazer's house, look, obviously for me, I come from like a crazy, crazy like island country at the moment because obviously we've seen what Bloody Sunday was like. We've seen what obviously, in the west side of Belfast, like, you see all the pictures, the videos of people throwing petrol bombs at the police cars. As the police, obviously, as they are, they're just dicks. But honestly, bro, if I'm saying this right now, if Manchester United, like Old Trafford was in fucking Ireland, and say Sir Jim actually lived in Ireland, I'm sorry, man. The Irish probably would have done probably darker things,
Listen,
man.
Ben,
No one else. But look,
listen, Ben.
There we go, man.
He lives in Monaco, where he tax
Yeah,
dodges.
100%.
That's where he lives.
But my final thing, it just annoys me, man, because they've like say if they did throw those flares in Ed Woodward's house, it's literally like I just don't understand what goes through our brain by just blaming one simple fucking employee. He's not an owner or any of that. He's an employee, just like Barada.
He did have shares at United. To be fair,
He did,
all of them.
but
Judge,
then again, no, Nerdin.
Woodward.
But then again, no, Nerdin.
shares.
The icing on the fucking cake and the base of the cake is these Glazers and Ineos, man. And that's what I'm trying to repeat every fucking time to people in the chat and people every time in this stream, man. Stop getting gaslighted. Remember who your biggest enemies are, and it's these vultures, bro.
Well, go ahead, Stu.
Well,
big up to Ben.
I don't know. I just thought it was really well said at the end of the day. And for me, I said in the summer, sell him, take 100 mil. I was just done it. People were coming at me. I said sell him because when you rebuild a squad, you sometimes you've got to move your best value, your most valuable players. So, gents,
we've lost better players than him.
I'm gonna have to shoot there again.
Yeah, we're gonna finish now, actually, Stu. But
okay. I'll hold.
Make sure you check out Stu on X. Stu Woolley, and make sure you importantly subscribe to Tactical Devils after every game, at least 3 shows a week. Stu and Jarvis tactically break down the latest news from Manchester United, but especially next season they're going to have a lot more games because obviously we only played 42 games or whatever we played this season. But next season they'll have a lot more games to analyze.
Do you really know how many games we can get next season? I did the calculation.
55 to 60 apparently.
No, 67 games. We could play up to 67 games if we go through in all tournaments. 67. That's almost 7,000 minutes of football with added time.
Well, that's why we need 7 to 8 players. 5 of them starters. But big up for jumping on. Love. He still plays football.
Big ups
top
too.
Player, mate. Top player, Stu. No nonsense. He's a no nonsense defender.
Thanks for inviting me on. I've been wanting to come on for absolutely ages, and I just haven't had the chance. So Jarvis caught me on a good night tonight.
Are you a defender, Stu? Yeah. Are you a defender?
Centre half. Yeah,
centre half. I think me and you might work well as a duo. I'm a wing back.
I'm just a tidy player, Stu. He's a really good player.
I was a couple of weeks ago. You've just changed club, haven't you? You're about to change club.
In August. Sadly, my medical was failed, so I have to wait till end of August, man. So it's just a pity, man. So it is what it is, man. But
no worries. You made of rubber at your age. I'm made of absolute glass at the minute.
I've had injuries too, man. I've had injuries too.
I play over 50s super vets now in the Worcester League, and it's brilliant. Play a lot of ex-pros, semi-pros, and England players, England amateurs, that type of thing. Welsh amateurs, Irish amateurs. It's all really, really good fun. But the problem is you can have players from 45 to 50, and trust me, I'm 56, and fuck me, the difference in trying to chase somebody who's 45 years old, honestly, it fucking does my head in. But yeah, so I play centre half, and but I used to play holding midfield.
There you go. That's why I know the position.
So
Stu, I think you could have played up front as well, Stu. Timing with the header.
Time with the header. I've been known to, if I have ever scored a couple of goals now and again, I've been known to try and get the goalkeeper the ball the defender and me in the net at the same time. That was always a goal I try and achieve at least once a season. Because I think you should absolutely smash the keeper to smithereens if you get a chance. But I still play for my sins. But I'm getting too old now, Ben, to be honest.
To be frank, get to that stage as well, man. Don't worry.
Big ups, Stu. Always a pleasure, my friend.
No, I had a great time. Thank you very much.
Big ups, Stu.
Good seeing
you. Tactical Devils, check it out. Tactical Devils. You see Stu on there. Big ups, Stu. Love.
Next season, let's win a title for Bruno.
Subscribe. That's the most important thing. Tactical Devils.
Please.
Nice one,
Tactical Devils.
Nice one. Make sure everybody subscribes to that channel, man. I think that's it. Nothing else to say. I just did a little poll here. Who do you agree with on the awards? Keane or Bruno? Percent said Keane. 39% said Bruno. It is what it is. But listen, it's been a brilliant show tonight. Big up to Jarvis. Big up to Luani. Big up
guys.
Everybody who tuned in. Big up to Ben. Big up to Stu's made his URT debut tonight. And yeah, we've talked about it all. Well, we can take Ederson if he translates well to this league, physicality and the demands of it. But in terms of him being in it, tactically, it should be a good, because tactical position is what they work on in Italy. It should be good. Matteo, I could take Matteo Fernandes, no problem. I really like Anderson, and I know that some of you think is wasted, but I think he's a complete midfielder. And I'm
afraid
if he doesn't want to come to us, if he doesn't want to come to us, then it's fine. We're not going to beg. I think I will take players who want to come to us. But if there's a chance of getting him, I would go for it. Go ahead, Jarvis.
Norlin, I was just going to say, I believe you will. You won't like Matheus Fernandes. He's too ill-disciplined. He's all over the place.
But what I like,
I think you will see him play, and then you will understand. When he
I've seen him play. I have seen him play, and one thing I've loved, that pass, that diag that hits to Somerville. That 60-yard diag, boom, out of ball, boom. Like how quickly he is on a transition, how quickly he passes that ball. But I have seen he could have cost them things where he's handballing and doing all sorts of craziness and unnecessarily giving free kicks away. But he is somebody, for a season at least, he's transitioned into that. He was playing more of a forward as an 8 or a Southampton, wasn't he? So I'm hoping he can calm down a bit. That's just youthful experience.
Yeah, he's still 21, so he's young. Yeah,
and he can improve higher seed. But to me, what I do like is that he can play transitional football. And if we're going to do mid-block, so does Ederson, by the way. Ederson is also very good at transitional. But the thing about what I like about him, he's busy, he gets up and down. But I don't like players who positionally indisciplined. Because we already have Bruno, and the whole team has to cover up for that.
everything for Bruno. Look, I'll take the 100 million. I'll take the 100 million.
1 second, go ahead, Stu.
Fernandes will work against certain types of teams, and that's your Brentford, your Bournemouth, your Crystal Palace, your Forest, those types of teams. But when you're playing against City, Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal, you need a different type of profile player. And that's where probably you may well see Fernandes and Mainu trade places throughout the season, potentially. You're not going to see Ederson and Mainu trade places, but you might see Fernandes and Mainu trade places, because certain teams he'll work well against where he can transition quickly, and certain teams he won't work so well against, because Jarvis is right. He's a maverick. Now, when it comes to Maverick, he's my type of player, because I fucking love a Maverick.
Listen, we've had Mavericks at Manchester United.
Yeah.
We've had really good Mavericks. Yeah.
We haven't had a Maverick for a while, and we need a Maverick type player. And if he at one stage, if he can, when we're drawing one apiece away to Brentford, and it's a real difficult game, that's when you want him to come in, grab hold of the game by the scruff of the neck, do that diag pass, do the unimaginable, a little bit like Cunny used to do for Wolves, and then change the face of the game, and then allow our strikers, whoever it may well be, to finish the game off. So that's where I think it'll be more effective, those types of games, rather than City, Arsenal, Liverpool, where it'll be a lot tighter.
Just very quickly, did someone said about the Nathan Collins? What was going on there?
Yeah.
What
That
happened?
was just another thing saying something about
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Please let me know. And
he'll get back to you on that one. I am titanium. But listen,
Yeah.
big up to everybody. As we speak right now, World War III could be kicking off, but solidarity and love.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy what he's saying, but yeah, after state that's not real, after Zios, after colonizing the imperialists, man. That's how it is. And we want people who are against war and death and destruction. And we don't want that in this world, people. Trust me, I survived through a war as a child. It's the most horrific, dehumanizing thing that humans can do to each other is war and bomb each other. Love and light. Big up to everybody. Solidarity and love to everybody out there. Eid Mubarak to everybody. Happy Wednesday to everybody else in the world. And big up to Palace for winning
congrats, Palace.
He won about Glazer, but he delivers trophies, and big up to them. It's maddening football that he's leaving, but it's one of those things because of the ownership in it. But yeah, love and light, people. Look after each other. And like I said, make sure you subscribe to Stuart Woolley on X, Jarvis Bowley77. Most importantly, subscribe to Tactical Devils, people. Manuel Lawani 1979 on X, Ben 39 Elmore at Elmore, and then 20 Elmore 20 on Twitch and on TikTok. Love and light, people. Take care.
Give me Bowen.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Give me Bowen, man. Give me Bowen. Seriously, even Mason Mount can play that position. Come on, man. What are we doing?
Mason Mount can't stay fit,
Mason Mount is a Champions League winner, you know. He's a Champions League winner.
And guess what? He can't play 2 games, my friend. Take care. Good night, people.
Good night.